Yo, yo, yo. Welcome to Starbucs. I'm your host, Anthony DiNardo. With me, we got Jim Rosati. Jim, happy Monday. Good morning to you. It's super early where you're at, but appreciate you being on.
Yeah, no, good morning. I'm an hour behind you, so it's Central Time, so it's 6 a.m. for me. So that's just the kind of dedication that I have to this program. And it's Tuesday.
It's true.
It's not Monday.
And it is Tuesday. Yeah, we couldn't come on yesterday because you're actually on a flight to get there. So now that you are there and it's 6 a.m. here, we are together once again talking Buccos. This is a good show. You know why it's a good show, Jim?
Why?
Because the Pirates are 10-7. It is April 18th right now. The Pirates are 10-7. They're playing good baseball. They won 14-3 last night against the Colorado Rockies. I feel like this is like the theme. Rewind a year ago, what were we talking about? That's why it's a good show, because we're actually having good shows.
Yeah, I mean, doing post-game shows are fun. Watching the actual games is fun. Last night's game was extremely fun. Yeah, it's I mean, the reason why you watch the Pirates is to be entertained, and they are entertaining right now. So, yeah, so far, so good.
Super entertaining, for sure. So let's get into our show today. We're going to talk a few things. We'll talk about the starting pitching. That's doing very well so far. We'll talk about our boy, Rodolfo Castro. Let's talk about this upcoming schedule that's the Pirates are facing, which makes you feel maybe more optimistic about April. So let's do our first shot. So as mentioned, the starting pitching. So last night was their 7th quality start in a row, Jim. The starting pitching, by the way, the one that was hurt by JT Brubaker, the one that, had some depth, but we were, still unsure about it. Added Vince Velasquez, Rich Hill, 43-year-old Rich Hill. What's going to happen? Mitch Keller, is he really going to keep turning the page? We got something cooking here. I know it's early. I keep saying it's early. It's April. Everything's always prefaced with it's early. But let's talk about the starting pitching we got so far.
Yeah, I mean, this is something, it doesn't matter if it's early or if it's late. I mean, 7 consecutive quality starts in a row at any point in the year is a good sign. And it means you're going to win some baseball games. So, yeah, anytime your starters can go past that 6th inning or at least get you there. We talked about it on, I think it was Sunday's post-game show. Like, the goal here is to get the ball to Holderman and Bednar, right? So if you can make it so that there's not a lot of space in between starting pitcher and Holderman Bednar, you've accomplished your mission. So far so good. And 7 consecutive quality starts. 2 of those are Rich Hill, after a lot of people were ready to write him off after his first 2 starts, which I don't really understand why people were doing that. But 2 by Rich Hill. Everybody's contributing. Rich Hill, Vince Velasquez, they've all been a part of that. So it's not just the guys that we, kind of hoped to be good or we're hoping to rely on. It's everybody stepping up, and they're going deep into ball games, which just takes so much off of that bullpen. Because if you remember last year, this exact same time, the only way this team was winning baseball games was starting pitcher came out after 4 innings. Bullpen came in, and it was Dylan Peters or Will Crow throwing like 3 scoreless innings of relief, giving the offense time to catch up. Yeah, like that was like the only recipe they had to win games last season. And this year, you're seeing completely different kind of structure or kind of a game plan of how they're winning games, and it's working a lot better this way. Let's just say that.
Yes. Also, mind you, something we discussed a year ago, right? When was the first pitching win last year? Was it like April 29th we found out it was? Or like May
It
5th,
took
something like that?
Yeah, it took like a month for a starting pitcher to get a win.
There's
Somewhere
5.
there.
We have 5 starting pitcher wins so far. Every starter has a win so far this year. So again, we're talking about the difference, not the fact that they're pitching well, but you said like they can pitch deep in the games. They were just disqualified, it seemed like, every time last year because they never even went to the 5th. Like it was like 4 innings,
Right.
you're
Yeah.
out of here. There goes your, chance at even getting a win. So right, they're actually pitching semi deep in the games for right now. You have a competent enough bullpen. It's still not a great bullpen, but it's competent right now to get you to hold them in, as mentioned in Bednar, who, of course, Bednar just looks outstanding. But yeah, like the starting pitching is doing real. Mitch Keller so far, just talking about him real briefly. He looks like the guy that you were hoping for, right? You saw last year, you're kind of expecting, hoping to see this. So far, so good with him. As far as Rich Hill goes, right? He had the 2 starts that weren't so great to begin with. He is 43 years old. He did have a shortened spring, didn't have a whole lot there because of whatever. What was injury, right? Well, now I forget what was wrong with him.
Are you talking about last year?
No, in the spring. Oh, he was sick or something, wasn't he? Didn't get like, I forget. Either way, he didn't make like all his starts. And then Johan Oviedo, that doesn't look like Johan Oviedo, not the guy that we were expecting. I mean, he's playing lights out right now. He starts today also. So 2 back-to-back really, really crisp starts. I'm very anxious to see what it looks like today in Colorado. And then, right, like Roansy kind of still looks Roansy, but it's good enough. And then Vince Velasquez. I know he had that, a very, very bad outing, but he blamed a lot of that on that ankle. Came out last time and pitched very well. So again, like this starting pitching, it's either basically what you expected or better, and mostly better.
Yeah, I don't know if there's anybody underperforming
No.
right now. I guess you could say that like you're not maybe impressed with what you see out of Contreras yet. Like from a he doesn't look like super crisp or anything, but he's getting the results, which is really all at the end of the day that matters. Yeah, it's just everyone. I mean, 7 consecutive quality starts is impressive, no matter who you're talking about. And yeah, Oviedo, who's starting tonight, he's put together some really nice outings so far this year. I am actually a little interested to see how he does tonight because he relies a lot on that slider. And you've seen sometimes where the thin air of Denver, maybe that slider doesn't have the bite that it normally has. So
Right.
will that have some sort of an effect on him? So that's maybe something to watch tonight. But yeah, overall, really just across the board. And it helps out the bullpen. Like that's the biggest issue here because going into this year, the bullpen was a pretty big question mark. And the starters have really taken that pressure off of the bullpen. When those guys don't have to go multiple innings every night, when they don't have to go out there and hold down the fort because the starter can keep the team in the game, so the relievers have to go out there and throw zeros just to have a chance to win. Like everybody's pitching in the role that they're supposed to when the starters are going well.
Yes, for sure. I do have to take something back. Scott says, "Isn't Vinny V going today?" You know what? My bad. I jumped to the wrong date. It is Velasquez tonight. Oviedo is tomorrow.
There you go.
But tonight is Vince Velasquez. Same thing applies where I'm intrigued to see what he does because I'm trying to have an open mind with him. I know the first start was not good, but there was reason to understand why. The last start was good. So let's see what he does today. He's like the wild card. I know he's brought in this offseason. Alex, when we had Alex Stumpf on, he said there was something going on with him, that there's some of the Pirates saw out of him. So again, that's where I'm keeping like my open mind with it. Because again, I understand I've been harsh on Oscar Marine, but he has brought in some veterans that you're like, I don't know about this. And he has turned them around and made them, pretty productive. So if that's Vince Velasquez this year, so be it.
Yeah, you've been a bit more critical on Marine than I have. But hopefully that's something I can hold over your head at the end of the year if this keeps up. But
Lord knows you will.
but no, I mean, same thing with Velasquez. We talk all the time about him. The key there is just consistency. Like we know that he's capable of putting together starts like he did last week. It's just a matter of can you repeat it and do it multiple times, because he hasn't really been able to do that in the past. Like he can do really nice things every now and then, but the key there is consistency. So yeah, can he put together another good outing today? Because typically what we've seen from him is not that kind of consistency. So yeah.
Right. For sure. All right. So again, as mentioned, starting pitch.
I don't know what DiNardo happened there, but yeah, that'll probably do it there for our starting pitching talk. Let's move over to look at you. You're a mess, man. You're a mess. Just jumping off streams left and right.
Right. No, I actually what I just wanted to do. Again, this mouse, I flicked it. I just wanted to go as far as starting pitching. As a unit, 91 innings pitched, 4.53 ERA. So it's basically league average.
Yeah, and that seems about right. They've had a couple blow up games between Hill.
Again, though, we're talking about a league average pitching staff.
Yeah.
Let's rewind a year ago. All right.
Yep.
Anything else you want to talk about as far as the pitching staff goes?
No, let's get into the schedule maybe.
All right. So we touched on this like a little bit last night. I did want to talk a little more about today with us. The Pirates are 10-7 right now in Colorado, having a 3-game series with them, and then they go home, play the Reds, 4-game series. The Reds, right? I mean, listen, the Pirates are something like some juggernaut to talk about, but it's the Reds. They're not playing too well today, and then into LA. Then they finish up with the Nationals for the month of April. So they're 10-7, 2 more games against Colorado, 4 against the Reds, 3 against the Dodgers, 3 against the Nationals. There's a very, very good chance they could finish the month of April, which was this grueling schedule that was mentioned of. It's pretty tough. You had the Cardinals, the Red Sox, the Astros, the White Sox, the Dodgers. Like for a team that's not so good, doesn't have the greatest pitching, they might come out of here. Who knows? They're going to be 7 games under 500. What's going to happen? Jim, looking pretty optimistic. They might have not just a winning record, but they could really potentially have quite a few games above 500 end of April. So what do you think about this?
Yeah, they've kind of gotten through this first really rough patch, right, where they had Houston and St. Louis. They got through that, and did okay. They took 3 out of 7 against those 2. It was really the damage they did against Boston and the White Sox that kind of set them up in a really good spot here. But yeah, you mentioned the immediate schedule here coming up: Colorado and St. Louis, Colorado and Cincinnati. So 2 teams that the Pirates should be better than. They did the job last night against Colorado, just dominated them in a pretty impressive fashion. They've got the 2 games remaining against them, and then the 4 against the Reds. This is kind of where if the Pirates really want to take that step forward, stretches like these is how they do that over the course of a 162 game season, right? You're going to have these stretches of games where like you got to stack some wins. You got to stack some wins against these teams that aren't as good as you. And this is a perfect opportunity for the Pirates, these 7 games against the Rockies and the Reds. If they're good and they really want to take those steps, you got to win at least 4 of these 7, right? And winning 5 out of 7 puts you in a really, really good spot going into the end of this month and going into May. So that series against the Dodgers, that's going to be tough. But then you got the Nationals right after it, so it kind of is a wash there. Yeah, if you can really take advantage of these next 7 games, though, last night and then the next 6, this team can be in a really good spot at the end of this month.
For sure. And again, like this is what we're talking about, the 2023 Pittsburgh Pirates. A couple things. They're not that good. they're not, you're not thinking like, playoffs with them, but you're looking for improvement. But this is also why that you came in this season and said like, hey, like there are real reasons to believe this team is a 70+ win team. The reasons, the changes they made this offseason, there's a competent lineup. You get some improvement from, some of the bullpen, some of the starting. And that's what we're seeing right now. This is weird. I want to talk to you a little bit about this. Like, I don't know if this will, but you're talking, take 5 out of 7 in these next games. Go against the Dodgers. I'm just saying, like, if this team comes out, say 5 games above 500 in the month of April, okay, they're playing some really good ball. They're still up first, second, the top half in the NL and such. Does this maybe change anything on some timelines for people? Do you think Cherington even attempts to maybe say, let's get aggressive in the month of May? Let's see what happens. Does Endy come up maybe quicker than you think? I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with no. I think Ben Cherington probably has a little bit more self-discipline than like you and I or any average fan would in this situation. And that's not necessarily a good thing, because I think Endy Rodriguez should be up here, but that's a whole other conversation. No, I'm going to go ahead and say that really the start of the season doesn't have much of an effect on personnel decisions. Yeah, I'm going to go with a no. Cherington will basically use that as an excuse to say, well, what's working right now is working right now. I don't really, there's no rush. So yeah, I mean, it's a good question.
1 for 3 with an RBI and a walk. Why would I put Endy in there?
Right. Yeah. I mean, Austin Hedges just had, a hit, DiNardo. So, yeah, I don't foresee that. I mean, yeah, no, I think mid-June still the expected date for someone like Endy Rodriguez.
Fair enough.
I wouldn't get your hopes up.
I am with you. I think April is way too early, but I'm glad the team is putting like that pressure. Yeah. Do you have any, this is all early reaction, right? But do you have any thought or any hope you could have like a 2022 Baltimore Orioles out of this team right now? Are they there yet, you think?
I think this team is certainly, like, if a lot of things go right, which one big thing already hasn't gone right, and that's O'Neal Cruz has gone down, right? They've played well this first week without him, but can they sustain that over 120 games? I don't know. Probably not. Is probably the answer. But if a lot of things go well, they certainly have the capability to piece together a low 80s win total. Like, the talent's there, it could happen. A lot of stuff has to go well. Like, the starting pitching staff has to continue to pitch like they have this past week. The bullpen needs to continue to shut down people and overperform what we've expected. The people stepping in for Cruz, especially Castro, like, they need to continue this pace, and we'll get into Castro here in a bit. But yeah, I think that there's a slight possibility, but I would still say this team is likely 75-ish wins. I think that's kind of still where we're at. But once you get to that place where you're a 75-ish win team, stuff happens over the course of a 162 game season. If you steal 7 games, then with the extra playoff spot, you're in the conversation until the end of the year.
Yeah. I feel like I'm with you. There's a lot of reasons to be optimistic, and again, we're talking about Kutch, how like great he looks in the point of time and such, but he is 36, to be honest. Carlos Santana is older. He's already getting banged up, it seems, in the field and such. We're already seeing, like you said, O'Neal Cruz is down for quite some time. Choi's, he's already feeling pain in his Achilles. He's out for a little bit of time. Rich Hill, who knows what's going to happen to him? He's going to get injured at some point in time as well. So I feel like things are going right at this point in time. And this isn't like to be the Debbie Downer as well. But if you're looking at this realistically, this is a very, very good spot for the Pirates right now. This is the good run. If they had this run like in the middle of June and they started off how you typically would, you probably wouldn't think too much differently. Just, oh, it's a good stretch, right? It's just happening right now. I'm saying enjoy this while it's lasting. And I'm not saying it's going to go away either, too. But I think they're kind of playing out of their heads right now. Like everything's clicking for this team. And not to say like things can't keep going, but right, like Castro has like a 160 weighted runs created plus. Like so does Kutch,
Connor Joe too, like all those
Connor
guys.
Joe, the only guy that didn't get a hit last night. So like I'm with you as well. I think this is also why Cherington is going to slow play his cards with Endy and such and not rush them up because he had a good April. But it's certainly something to talk about. I feel like a lot of people are probably thinking this right now and talking about it. And it's like, if they do go through April and the way they're playing right now, is the playoffs there? Is this team really good? And I think that's kind of disadvantage is they're good. I mean, mentally, they're a much different place right now than they were last year. But I'm with you. I don't really think this team, and I could be wrong, and it's fine, but I don't think this team has it in them right now to be like the Orioles last year. The Orioles were just very, very talented too. That bullpen just really came together. I don't know if I see the same talent this year with the Orioles.
Yeah, the Orioles just had like random dudes who just came in and all of a sudden they were throwing 102 with like 95-mile-an-hour sliders that were like unhittable. So yeah, I don't know if there's any of that here.
Right.
That's a good point. And that is kind of the differentiator between, like, if you're talking about a team who's got to steal some games and win close games, because I think the way you take a 75 win team and you turn them into an 82 to 84 win team is you've got to win those 1-run games. Like those close games that are 50-50 toss-ups, you've got to be on the right side of those. And the way you get on the right side of those is with a dominating bullpen. That's how we saw that Pirates success of the 2013s, 14s, and 15s. Like those were very good teams, but those teams had unbelievable bullpens where once you got them to the 7th inning, they were shutting it down. Like that game was over. Like that's how good those bullpens were. So this team, I there's some good players in the back half of this bullpen, not quite to that level yet, where you can kind of say, all right, game's over in the 7th inning. We're not quite there yet. And I think that is how you get to that level where you're stealing more games than you should. And so yeah, that's kind of the differentiator there. But if the starting pitching keeps performing, sometimes the bullpen doesn't matter as much. So we'll see.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm leaning towards a no on that.
Fair enough. And I think that's a very smart and realistic way to look at it. So let's get to our last topic here. Rodolfo Castro, baby. Made such a good point when O'Neal Cruz went down. It sucks. We talked next man up. And you're like, somebody's going to have to, whether they piece it together, but someone's going to have to step up. And boy, oh boy, Rodolfo Castro, who was struggling in spring, struggling to begin the season, but wasn't getting a whole lot of at-bats, came in, replaced O'Neal Cruz at short. And since that moment, Jim, he's had a hit every game. He's balled out. This isn't me saying Rodolfo Castro is better than O'Neal Cruz, but what I am saying is you asked that and said someone has to replace him and someone has to step up. He is performing so far better than O'Neal Cruz. So that's where we're standing right now. Rodolfo Castro is like, if I said last night, if Cruz was doing what Castro is doing right now, we would be saying, oh, wow, look at O'Neal Cruz and how good O'Neal Cruz is playing. And yet this is Rodolfo Castro. I can't talk enough about this. I've been maybe not uber, but very excited, intrigued by his talents. And boy, is it coming together for him right now.
Yeah. I mean, you just said it. Like if O'Neal Cruz put this stretch together over 7 games, we would be talking about it and talking about how hot he is and how good he looks at the plate. Since O'Neal Cruz went down, Rodolfo Castro has started 7 games. He's hitting .435 in those 7 games. He's got a .552 on base percentage and a .652 slugging percentage. weighted runs created plus of 225 for the week, essentially. He is crushing the ball. Shortstop play could maybe be a little bit better defensively, but you could also say the same thing when Cruz is out there. So I don't really know if you're missing much there. But offensively, Castro has really stepped up, and he's taken that production that you would hope to see from Cruz, and he's done it this last week. So really good to see. Now, is he going to be able to keep up this pace? No, but if he can continue to be productive, then that's a big missing piece that the Pirates need. The Pirates really needed someone to step up, and he's done it in a big way.
Yeah. Again, like with Castro, he's doing everything. I can't talk enough about the approach. He's staying patient. He's getting walks. He's also getting hit. This last night is his third hit by pitch. I don't know. Maybe he's got a little Starling Marte in him. I mean, he certainly has the aggressiveness of Starling Marte. So, but like, that's why I still don't really know how to make him. I'm very positive and very intrigued, but we jokingly talk about the 2 pitch violations that got him on first. He could have drew a walk. I mean, they're both full counts. He could have drew the walk. 3 hit by pitches. So like his on base is definitely weighted heavily with those 5 events. But then like last night, he had a 423-foot flyout, Jim. So that's why I joke. It's even. We're even now. I mean, that was a home run. Anywhere else, that's a home run, basically.
He crushed it. Yeah.
And it was an out. That's how it shows up. But like this kid, it just seems like everything's clicking. Like it's there. And I know he has to prove himself and he has to show the next 4 months. But it's like I'm even so much more intrigued and excited now when Cruz comes back. This is the middle infield we're talking. What could Cruz and Castro be? And you're seeing the way Castro's playing now. And sure, like it's going to calm down a bit, but he looks like a complete, for the most part, player. Cruz and Castro middle infield, like does that not excite you even more right now?
Yeah, I mean it's exciting, especially when you see the skill set. Like Castro, we've talked about Castro's skills and his athleticism and what he's doing, what he does out there on a baseball field. When it all comes together like this, it's just fun. It's fun to watch. He's a very streaky player. We've kind of seen that in the past too. So you've got to kind of just really like when he's riding high like he is right now, you've got to really ride that high. You've got to enjoy him because that at some point he's gonna struggle. He just kind of has. And this isn't to be like a Debbie Downer type on this conversation, but Castro is going to the league's going to adjust to Castro playing now, and he's going to struggle for a little bit. It's just kind of what happens in baseball. But yeah, if he can take that step up like we were hoping, he doesn't have to play like this. But if he can improve from his last season, which was good, like he finished last year and he ended up having a pretty solid season overall. But if he can improve upon that over the course of this year, then we're talking about, okay, we really got something here. Maybe this is our second baseman, and we don't really have to necessarily rely on the guys in the minors who, quite frankly, are kind of underperforming, those middle infielders that you were kind of hoping to rely on in the future, all kind of underperforming, not really who we thought they were potentially, but yeah, I mean, it's hard to not get excited about Castro, especially when he's playing like this.
Things I want to point out again so far: 10.4% walk rate, 22.9% strikeout rate. Granted, 49 or 48 plate appearances, right? So it's small sample in a sense, but like he was much of a free swinger. 30% strikeout rate is something you probably would think he'd be close to. Right now, the strikeouts are way down and the walks are way up. Now, is that going to sustain? Probably normalize. I feel like the walks are going to come down, but like he has been into a full count, I swear, like every other at bat, it feels. And that's what I love the most about Castro. Mm-hmm. Last year, he's probably seeing 3 pitches.
Yeah,
he's either striking out or making contact and getting it out.
Yeah, the approach wasn't always the best.
So again, like this is something that we talked about with Cruz as well. Like it seems like there's a real fundamental change in some of these players, and that's part of it. And Castro has followed that philosophy, and it's working out really well for him so far. And yeah, like I'm encouraged, I'm intrigued to keep seeing this and how it's going to continue. But he has, that's what we talked about too. Like this is a huge opportunity. What happened with Cruz is very unfortunate, but it's creating a great opportunity for he and Bay. And so far, Castro has just taken it and dominated so far. So yeah, I mean, he's going to have another 15 weeks or so to prove himself. And like, yeah, so far so good.
Yeah. I mean, just he's been real fun to watch. Extremely productive. Can't really say much more. Like if he can continue, like I said, making the improvements year over year, that's going to be a big help to these 4 months without Cruz. Like that's really what it comes down to. Like if he can take that step up, that will help.
Right.
Because they needed someone to step up.
Cool. So far we have a competent starting pitcher. We have a Hall of Fame player that replaced O'Neill Cruz. And the Pirates are going to win the next 10 out of 13, and he's getting called up, correct?
Yeah. How about this? If the Pirates win 10 out of 13 and he's still not getting called up, like it's not happening.
Right. I agree. All right. So let's get out of here then. And unless there's anything else that you want to touch on real quick.
No, I think that wraps it up. Listen, hopefully we have a fun week of winning baseball ahead of us.
Same. Cool. Well, then we'll get out of here. As we do today, 2:00, Cody will be on playing MLB The Show. So if that's your thing, come watch Cody. He's going to, of course, be playing the Pirates. He's a big Mark Mathias fan on the show. Mark Mathias coming off the 4-hit game. So expect big things from Mark Mathias on MLB The Show today as well.
Yeah. I'll even say this, even if it's not your thing, because it wasn't my thing before. Like I was like, who wants to watch people play video games? But it's actually it's pretty entertaining. So even if you don't know if you'd like it, give it a shot. It's fun. It's entertaining.
Yeah, I want to say even like you with outside the park, Cody kind of involves everyone in the stream making some decisions, who to start, what not. So yeah, if you're just watching, you're also part of the experience. And then you can make fun of Cody because he plays on like extra rookie level. And
yeah, definitely easy to make fun of Cody.
Yeah, also just because it's easy to make fun of Cody. But all right.
Right.
Well, let's get out of here. But appreciate you all watching. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.
See you guys.
Hey, you all. Thank you for watching. I know we try to provide the most entertaining content that we can, and we'd love to spread it to as many people as possible. So I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but if you could take the 5 seconds to like this video and subscribe to the page, it helps out so much more than you know. Thank you, and let's go Bucks.